Hi everybody, it's Miss Michelle. I hope you're doing well. I miss seeing all of you, been thinking of all of you and wanted to say hi and let you know that I'm still here and I'm still thinking about all of my students and just wanted to check in and see how you're doing and how you're feeling. It's pouring rain outside, so maybe you are home snuggling or getting cozy or watching a movie or reading a book. Maybe you're doing some kind of online learning. Maybe you're playing a game. Maybe you are walking around in the pedals. I hope that you're doing something that feels good. And if you haven't done something today that feels good, I hope you are. I know last time we talked about making a self-care list. So I would love to see if some of you made one, if maybe your parents could send it to me. I'd love to see what's on your list. Make sure you're doing a couple things to take care of yourselves during this confusing time. And I also wanted to talk today about feeling disappointed. I brought my friend Clover. Do you guys remember Clover? He misses all of you guys and he wanted to say hi. And you know he always has his little friend up here on him, his ladybug, that looks down on him and reminds him about things. Well, and you know how he always loses it? Well, he lost it right now. I've been looking everywhere for it. So he's a little disappointed about that. But I wanted to talk today about disappointed because that's a feeling that Clover feels a lot. So if you're at home with me, raise your hand if you're feeling a little bit disappointed. Or maybe if you're with someone in your family right now, maybe you could look at them for a minute and pause this and say if you each feel disappointed and what you feel disappointed about. Disappointed is a hard feeling, and I imagine a lot of us are having it right now. I know I am. I feel disappointed that I can't see all of you. I feel disappointed that I'm staying inside all the time and can't get outside. I'm disappointed that I can't see my parents because they are older and I want to make sure they're healthy. I'm disappointed I can't see my friends. I'm disappointed for my daughter that she's missing so many things and friends and events. I'm disappointed for my community, for everyone in Mill Valley that feels these things. And I'm disappointed for the whole country and really for the world that people are not feeling well and people are worried and sick and lots of other things. So there's a lot of us that are feeling disappointed. Maybe you're disappointed that Little League is not happening for you right now, or disappointed that you wish you could see your teacher, or disappointed. There's so many disappointments. So maybe you could make a list today of things you might feel disappointed about. And sometimes when we feel disappointed, it doesn't always come out that way. It's sort of hard to say, hey, I feel really disappointed. Disappointed sometimes is when things don't go your way, when you don't get what you want, or when things around you aren't happening in the way that you would like them to. But I know sometimes it's hard to know that we feel disappointed, and instead we get angry or frustrated, or we yell, or we might throw things or break things or say unkind words or hurtful words instead of helpful words. Raise your hand if maybe when you're disappointed you do that. I've definitely raised my hand. When I'm disappointed, I don't always know I am feeling that way, and I react in ways that I don't love. So I think sometimes it's okay to just say, this time right now is kind of hard and kind of confusing, and we might be feeling disappointed. I know that a lot of us are just disappointed in all kinds of things. So maybe sometimes it's okay to just name it and say, I feel disappointed. I feel disappointed that this isn't happening. And Clover is right there with us saying, I feel disappointed, because that is his biggest feeling. But the thing about Clover is he has two tools that he uses. One of them is he uses the word optimistic. And probably a lot of you have learned that when I've come in your classes. Optimistic means he looks on the bright side. And even though he's a four-leaf clover, he's an unlucky four-leaf clover. Things don't go his way all the time. And he forgets things all the time. And he makes mistakes all the time. So he feels disappointed. He feels disappointed in himself, and he feels disappointed just that things don't go the way that he wants them to. But optimistic means he looks on the bright side of things. So he's always trying to say, oh, well, this is happening and I'm disappointed, but it's okay. Things are going to get better. Things are going to change. So he's being really helpful right now to me and reminding me that disappointment is going to change. And that even if I can't control it right now and things are happening that don't feel good, I know if I'm optimistic and look on the bright side, that things are going to get better and that there's also lots of good things that I have. So hopefully you all made the self-care list I talked about to you last time, things that help you when you don't feel good to make you feel better. So for me, I'm trying to do lots of things on my self-care list, and they help me be more optimistic. So if I go outside and take a walk, or if I snuggle with my dogs, or I read a book I love, or watch a movie I like, or I draw, or do something that feels good for me, then I start to feel better and I can be less disappointed and more optimistic. So he's helping me look on the bright side. So one thing he does is if something doesn't go his way or he doesn't feel good, instead of getting frustrated or reacting or hurting someone, he's like, oh, well, I feel really disappointed and this isn't fun and I don't feel good, but I know everything's going to be okay eventually. Or right now I don't feel good, but I know it's going to get better. Or, oh, well, that didn't go my way, but I know I can try again. So that's something that I'd love all of us to think about, is how we can be optimistic and look on the bright side. And he also uses his garbage can tool a lot. Do you remember that one? That one's your little trash can where you go, I let the little things go, or your big trash can and say, I let the little things go. So of course there's big things we've all made lists of together in class, or small things. And I'm just talking about the small things. The big things we can't always let go. And sometimes that takes really talking to somebody or solving it together, or getting help from a grown-up or your family or your parents, or from me when a really big problem happens. And a lot of things that are happening right now feel really big, but Clover tries to work on the smaller things and he lets them go if they don't go his way. So maybe you're at home and you're fighting with your sibling over your iPad or the device, or over a game, or over a toy, or you want to do something, or you want to be around friends and you're really frustrated. We're all going to try a little more to use our garbage can tool and try to let the little things go. So he says, I throw it in the trash and I walk on by, or I let the little things go. So maybe if you can make a list with your family today, or what are some of the little things that each of you and your family could try to let go during this confusing and challenging time. I bet there's lots of things that we all could put on there. So if something doesn't go our way when we're at home right now, you really want to do something, you really want to have a turn on something, everything's driving you crazy, maybe you could think, oh, I'm going to let the little things go. I'm going to throw it in the trash and I'm going to walk on by. And I'm also going to try to be a little more optimistic, which is looking on the bright side of things, the sunny side of the street. So if you remember Clover's book, and maybe we could take a look at it and to remind ourselves about the garbage can tool, being optimistic and letting the little things go. This is called Clover's Happy Go Not So Lucky Camping Trip. You might remember this one. You might remember what happened on his camping trip. Now it was the end of summer on Komochi Way, and that meant it was time for the annual Komochi camping trip. Clover was in charge of the trip, and he really loved to camp. But if you might remember, Clover always forgets things. And that's why he has to use the garbage can tool a lot, because he always forgets things. And he needs to let it go, or else he would have a really bad day every day, because he'd be so disappointed. But he's all happy and excited to go on his camping trip. Now, not everyone was as enthusiastic about camping as Clover, because Cloud liked to go camping, but he liked to go camping all by himself. And Kat, she likes to be in charge, if you remember, and she preferred being at home instead of camping, unless she was in charge. And you know, Bug, my friend, he's afraid of lots of things, and he's afraid of the dark. And while Bella Rose loved the scent of morning dew, she didn't like to be covered in it, so she wanted to stay home. And Hugtopus, his favorite thing about camping was s'mores, of course. The more kinds, the better of chocolate, he said. So Hugtopus is excited. Nobody else is. And on the morning of the trip, Clover slept in because, of course, he forgot what time he had to wake up. And instead of getting frustrated and angry and throwing things and yelling, he's like, oh, well, I'm going to let the little things go. I slept in, and that's okay. I'm going to be optimistic. I make mistakes, and I'm going to keep going. And when he finally showed up, all of his friends were frustrated with him. Are you sure we have everything we need, said Cloud. Maybe you should have made a list, said Cat. I brought the bug spray, said Bug. Clover thought they had everything they needed, and they all set out for the woods. Now ask yourself, Knowing Clover, do you think they had everything they needed? Probably not. But soon it became clear Clover had forgotten something, because that's what he does. "Where's Howard?" said Cat. Clover had forgotten his ladybug. If you remember, he has a little ladybug that goes on top of his head, which actually is lost right now. I've got to find it because he always forgets it and loses it. He never went anywhere without him. How could he have forgotten him? But you know what he said? "Oh well," said a disappointed Clover. "The more s'mores for us," he laughed, ever optimistic. He's always looking on the bright side. He's always trying to use his garbage can tool. And even when he is disappointed and he gets upset, which is okay to be disappointed and upset, he tries as hard as he can sometimes to say, "I'm going to let the little things go. I'm going to use my breathing tool, and I'm going to keep going." Inside, he was sad, though, because he disappointed everybody. And when his friends reached their favorite spot, they started to set up camp. Clover popped up his happy yellow tent. He'd almost forgotten that he was sad and disappointed, because he moved on. And you see Bella Rose has this beautiful tent with a chandelier, and Cat is setting up on a log, and Hugdipus is in a hammock. Lovey-Dove's up in a nest, and Little Bug is catching bugs. Soon the campsite was really nice and really cozy. "Time to make a campfire," said Clover, and the friends gathered kindling and wood. Cat stacked the logs into a perfect triangle. She always made the fire. "Where are the matches?" said Cat. Everybody looked at Clover. "Matches? How did he forget? How will I make a fire?" said Cat. "How will we make s'mores?" said Hugdipus. "It's getting dark," said Bug. "It's okay, Bug," said Clover, "because I think I brought my lantern." Had he forgotten that too? "Maybe next time I'll make a list," Clover laughed. No one else laughed, though, because it was cold and dark, and it was turning into a disaster. "I am one unlucky four-leaf clover," he sighed. And you know what Lovey-Dove said? Because she always has something wise to say. She said, "You are so good about bouncing back from hard things. You know there is more than one way to light a fire. There's more ways to solve problems than just one. And there's always ways to bounce back when we're disappointed and frustrated and when things aren't going our way." "That's it," said Clover. "Hey guys," said Clover, "we don't need matches to make a fire. Hugdipus, you rub the sticks together. Cloud, block the wind. Bella, add the kindling. And Bug, blow gently when Cat says so," said Clover. It wasn't easy, but all of a sudden the wood sparked, and a small flame grew into a beautiful fire, and everybody cheered. "Who wants some more?" said Hugdipus. While the friends roasted marshmallows, Clover played campfire songs on his harmonica, because he hadn't forgotten to bring the fun. You can never forget to bring the fun. That's one thing you can't. And that's all they really needed, was fun. So this is always a good book and a good reminder about optimistic, about looking on the bright side, and about being disappointed, and about letting the little things go and bouncing back from disappointment. So I will check in with you guys in a couple days, and I'm here for you. If you want to send me an email, you can ask your parents and they can reach out to me, and I just want you to know I'm thinking of you and I miss you, and I hope everybody's doing well and surviving all of these times at home. And Clover sends big hugs to you guys, and remember, garbage can, breathing tool, letting the little things go. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.